All right. Welcome to our very first podcast. We are in our Cupertino headquarters at Intero. My name is Mary Jane Elian. I am a realtor with the Vaughn Group. And joining us today is my friend and colleague, Rochelle. Rochelle Yadagari, you have been in the industry for quite some time. Please tell the viewers a little bit about yourself.
Well, thank you so much for inviting me. It's a pleasure to be here, and I'm grateful for you. And I'm excited to join you all as well. Again, my name is Rochelle Yedigary. I've been with, Prosperity Mortgage for about 5 years, and in the industry about 20 years.
Wow.
Not giving my age away, but it's been a number of years that have gone by, and it's been a lot of fun and a pleasure to be able to be a part of the team.
I can relate to that. I actually got my real estate license back in 2006.
Long
So that was a
time.
really, really, really long time ago. It actually happened before the Great Recession.
Yes.
So that's when one out of every four homes nationwide was underwater.
Yeah. Difficult times.
But now it's not so difficult. Being here in the Silicon Valley, oh my gosh, I've seen this area change dramatically. Have you?
I have as well, yes. And the exciting thing too in our world is every day is so different. And so, you blink and the years go by, and there's a lot of things that you look back and think, sure, a lot has changed within the industry, within the market, within real estate, within the area. But there's a lot that still remains the same, and depending on kind of where we are today, it's nice to be able to reflect and see what is still the same, what has changed, where we've grown, what's to come. So there's a lot going on.
Well, one thing's for sure, traffic in this area has gotten a lot worse. Not as bad as like pre-pandemic, but I mean it's still pretty tough. I mean, in my opinion, I believe people don't know how to merge well here. They are very good at wedging.
Yes.
They can wedge, but they don't know how to merge.
I love that. That's a great way of putting it.
So, I mean, traffic for me, because I live in Sunnyvale, so coming here to the office probably takes about 15, 20 minutes. But you said you're coming from South San Jose?
South San Jose, yes. And it's funny, we were joking, as I mentioned earlier. I apologized for being a few minutes late, but everybody wants to be in this pocket. It's the mecca of just real estate, technology, great schools. And so from South San Jose, it's a solid 30-minute commute, and that's typically without traffic. And if you run into traffic, you of course may feel a little bit more congestion. But it's that has changed quite a bit, and I feel like who's to say, is that going to continue getting worse throughout the years? What are we looking at? Who knows?
Who knows? I mean, with autonomous vehicles the way that they are, and Tesla being here, I mean, Uber in San Francisco. I mean, it's just really amazing living here in the Silicon Valley with all of the wonderful startups, the big tech giants that are here. I'm pretty sure it's going to continue growing in this area.
I think so too. I think it's an exciting place to be, especially as I'm thinking one of the things that's a hot topic right now is AI, and where is that going? And just, the growth in technology is, I think that we're going to see a lot of new things to come, and how that's going to trickle down and impact us in real estate too. That's exciting.
Actually, you're right, because as tech grows exponentially, you'll find that the real estate market, especially here in the Silicon Valley, it's very much a seller's market still.
Yes.
Because the inventory that we have is still historically low.
Yes.
And the rates, even though they are double from 2 years ago, I mean, it's still prime time to buy.
Right.
You know what I mean? What have you seen in as far as like rates and the feds? Like, what's going to happen?
That's a great question. Well, going into 2024, we were hearing that the market experts were predicting we're going to see rates dip about 3 times this year. And here we are now in May, almost half of the year has gone by, and we haven't seen that happening yet. It's an interesting year with it being an election year as well. Typically, historically, during election year, we do see some relief in the market when it comes to interest rates. My personal opinion is that we probably will see rates dip a little bit before the end of the year. Probably one time. I don't anticipate that three time marker that we had initially heard of going into 2024. As far as what is looking to be on the horizon maybe for 2025, I can see maybe some additional reliefs happening then. But going into 2024 thinking we're going to see rates head into the 5% range, I don't think that's happening. I think that there's a lot going on in the industry as far as inflation still, anything really happening in the world, even with war and other countries, impacts the real estate market, specifically the mortgage market as well. But like you said, we haven't seen the slowdown when it comes to buyers. There's still a ton of buyers in the market, really well qualified clients who are just looking to get their foot in the door. We're still, like in a multiple offer situation for most listings. So it's not like we're seeing any sort of relief in that space. What's been your experience kind of seeing where buyers are landing and what they're experiencing right now when they're trying to purchase a home?
I see that the middle class is getting squeezed out.
That's a great point.
I see that you have to have, average home price 1.5, 1.7 in this area.
Sure.
Okay. So let's say if you put 10% down, that's 150, 170.
Yes.
How many of us in this area have that on hand? Right?
Yep.
Granted, there are a lot of high income earners here.
Yes.
Which definitely helps float this area.
Yes.
Because the San Francisco Bay Area is a different market. It's a different market nationwide. It really is, because for as many people as you think are leaving the Bay Area, there's twice as many coming in.
That's an interesting point. And I love what you said, and I agree with it. I do believe that middle market of buyers are getting pushed out or squeezed out because there's a lot of the affluent clients and who maybe have additional reserves and assets on hand, whether it's through stock money and RSUs, restricted stock options, and the double incomes. They're very well qualified buyers. And what I'm seeing a lot more too in offers today, the non-contingent world is back, where a lot of the offers are going in with no loan contingency and no appraisal contingency. So that appetite, that risk taker market is back, and they're taking that leap that, hey, we want to go in strong. We want our offer accepted. So is that what you've also been seeing on your end?
I've been seeing multiple offers come through. Between my partners at the Vaughn Group, we don't really like to have no contingencies because, we do like to be wary. We protect our clients. We try to look out for the best interest. But then again, you have those high risk takers, those, gunslingers that say, no, I'll take it with no contingencies. Oh, okay.
I love what you said about having just that security measure in place within the Vaughn Group of having contingencies, because as a lender, whenever I specifically see a contract, and we know it's ultimately the buyer's decision if they want to go in non-contingent, but when I see an offer that maybe does not have a loan contingency or an appraisal contingency, it immediately gets me thinking, I want to say an extra prayer. It's a leap of faith because we really don't know what's going to happen. And I think that for all of the people who are listening in, it's so important to know from the lending standpoint, until we have that final clear to close approval from an underwriter, which typically happens a few days before close of escrow, anything can happen. And a lot of times people may not be working with top agents like yourself and the Vaughn team to be able to know what that means going into a transaction non-contingent, or maybe releasing a appraisal contingency, because if that buyer maybe doesn't have the means to help leverage any gap, they're putting themselves more at risk. And a lot of times clients are hungry for that education. You know, they may not be in a position to perhaps come up with a difference if there is any gap that comes through, or maybe they weren't aware. If it's a condo, for example, a condo still has to go through a condo review process simultaneously when a file is being reviewed by an underwriter for that borrower's qualification. So I love what you said, because it shows your value. It shows that you are looking out for clients and their well-being. And it's so important, I think, now more than ever, for us to be able to share our value with our clients, because I think that there's a need, there's a hunger for that education. So I appreciate you sharing that.
I mean, absolutely. I mean, the more that we educate our clients, the more they can be empowered. They're empowered, which actually keeps our wheel running.
Yes.
So.
Yes, and I think too, it's the gift that keeps on giving, right? Because there's a lot of us in the industry. There's a lot of real estate agents. There's a lot of lenders. But what separates us, I feel, is the knowledge, the value, the education that we provide. And hopefully that client is our forever client. You have a client today who's looking to purchase or sell, they'll refer back to you. And that shows for your success and the Vonks team's success throughout the years. And it's that legacy that they're going to remember you. You helped them, and hopefully refer friends and family. So that's ultimately the goal.
Awesome. Cheers to that, Rochelle. Thank you.
Amen. Cheers.
All right. So I made a little, I want to say a pseudo peach Bellini, but it's really so quick. Just some diced peaches for us, and then we have a little bit of rosé prosecco. So cheers. And cheers to our cameraman, Aaron Monteleon. Aaron, come and take a cheers with us. Aaron.
Cheers.
So, Aaron, you actually have a new listing coming up too, right?
Yes, I do. I have one in Fremont. It's coming really soon. The sellers are getting it ready right now. Just doing a little cleanup around the house, but it's a nice 3-bedroom, 2-bath house right off of Automall and 880. In Grimmer, very nice neighborhood, very good schools.
What's the price point on that one?
Price point is $1,375,000. I've already been getting a lot of interest on this home, so if you'd like to know a little bit more, we'll put a little QR code up so you can scan and sign up to get a little bit more info on that.
Very
Excellent. Congrats.
Thank you.
Congrats. Rochelle, what type of programs would you recommend for Aaron's 1.3 property?
1.3 million. So
in
Fremont, so that falls in that Santa Clara County area. We have options available with as little as 10% down. So at 1.3 million, you're in that space where you don't have to go in that myth of 20% down is the minimum down payment needed. So depending on if you're a first-time buyer, or even if it's your second opportunity, or you've had multiple purchases in the past, we have different options that we can look at. And the beautiful thing is we have programs available that are not cookie cutter. And what I mean by that is, so he has a unique property that's in that 1.3 price range to give us an idea, but perhaps we have a client who's maybe self-employed, who maybe doesn't have a lot of income on their tax returns that they're showing. We have programs available where we can use bank statements and look at their transaction history and their deposits in lieu of what income they're showing on their tax returns.
That's a great program.
It's an amazing program. It's really popular for self-employed borrowers. We have programs available. Maybe somebody wants to purchase Aaron's new listing by using their equity from their departing residence. They're looking to get a bridge loan. And we have options available that can allow somebody to purchase a new home without having to sell their departing residence first. So many different options. Your traditional jumbo, conforming, FHA, even VA loans, in addition to a lot of the niche popular products that we have, like I just mentioned a few, the bridge or the bank statement loan. So we're really as that one-stop shop. So depending on what your scenario is, what the client's needs are, I'm sure we have a solution for them. So there's
Those
a
are
lot.
a lot of great programs. I mean,
Yeah.
the VA loan, how many times can you use that? I heard you can use it multiple times.
You can, yes. So depending on your eligibility, if you have any offline questions, reach out to MJ and she can get us in touch. We'd love to be able to see what we could do to help you.
That's really great. Before we go, could you tell us, like, what are the benefits if they put 10% down versus the 20% down? Because they might not know.
That's a great question. So a lot of times clients want to keep money to have in case of emergency or rainy day. So you may have that 20% down, but are thinking, gosh, I like having that security of what if. If you qualify with going in with 10% down, you're able to leverage, start building equity, and still start getting your foot in the door and have that reserves in place, again, for a rainy day. Perhaps you want to do some home improvement. Maybe you want to leverage that money that you have for another home purchase. So there's a lot of great advantages for purchasing a home today with less than 20% down. The one thing I always want to say is there's a myth out there where people believe, oh, if I go in with 10% down, my interest rate's going to be a lot higher, or private mortgage insurance is something lenders typically charge when you don't put 20% down. There's the myth that it's going to be on there for the life of the loan. Not necessarily. We have different programs where it actually can automatically fall off once you have a certain amount of equity into the home.
Hey, that's great.
Right? And if you decide, here's an opportunity for you to purchase this home today and still have that savings in mind, there may be an opportunity for you to leverage again, perhaps either by doing some home improvement or purchasing a new property. But I want to clear the myth is you could technically purchase a home today in Silicon Valley with a traditional conventional loan with as little as 3% down. So you can get your foot in the door, start building equity, start building your legacy, stop paying your landlord's mortgage, and really start investing in yourself, in addition to even down payment assistance programs we have for clients who maybe have mustered up, enough savings to try to get their foot in the door but are still short. We have programs that could potentially help somebody with down payment funds or even closing funds that are needed. So there's just a whole array of different products and services that we offer at Prosperity. But again, we're here to help and find which one would be the best for you.
That sounds really awesome. So I think all of the viewers should take advantage of the available loans and, just get your foot in the door. Once you get that property, it's like marry the property, right? Don't marry the rate.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. And if you think you can't do it, you can do it. You are paying a mortgage. If you're renting, it's just not your mortgage. You're paying your landlord's mortgage. So save up the money, get a program, get some equity assistance. Down payment assistance if needed. Really make the move to get that property for yourself, because the equity building, the home appreciation, that is pretty rapid growth here in the Bay Area.
Yeah, makes me think of my parents, and we all have a story that we could probably relate to.
Right.
But
your parents came here in the 80s, right?
So they actually were immigrants from Iran in 78, 79, if my memory is serving me. So good memory. Yeah, so early 80s, and they purchased their home back then for a little over $200,000, and that property today is probably worth shy of $2 million.
Oh, nice!
So it goes to show. And that there's many stories like that, but that one really hits home for me. Is my dad worked 3 jobs to be able to make ends meet and be able to provide, and he still was able to make it happen. And we fast forward 2024, we hear stories like that still happening, where you have a single mom or a joint couple, or it just so many different stories that we hear that hit home of what they had to do to get their foot in the door, and they're looking back and are so grateful that they made that move. They took that leap of faith, because now they're looking at that equity that they've built And it would have never happened if they just didn't get their foot in the door. So I really encourage everybody, just, reach out to us, have a conversation. There's no commitments, just having a conversation, but I think it could be really beneficial and of value just to see where you are today. And if you're ready today, great. There's a great real estate agent here that can help. And if you're not ready today, and it puts us on a nice game plan of what we need to do to help get you on that plan to be able to purchase tomorrow. There's just so many different ways to make it happen.
And you could strategize with your clients too.
Absolutely.
You could tell them, like, okay, this is what you have right now on your debt to income ratio. Let's bring it down a little bit. Here's the game plan to bring this down. Here's ways to, like, maybe fix your credit a little bit. Once we have your debt a little bit lower, we have your credit a little bit fixed. Maybe you qualify for better rates. Maybe you qualify for better programs, And then when you do that, we get you into a nice house, or even just a house. And then you make it nice yourself. So really the key to building wealth, I think, is real estate. I mean, because even when you have, like, stock market people, they make money in Bitcoin, they make money in Dogecoin, Ethereum, whatever it is right now. They sell off their Bitcoin, and then they put it in real estate.
Right. It's a safe investment, especially with the long-term outlook as far as ownership, right? We've seen market trends throughout the decades. If you're purchasing a home and are thinking about keeping it for at least 5 to 7 years, we've seen you're going to get a return. And the real estate market's not always going to be an uphill battle, meaning it's always going to go up. But as it dips, it's also going to continue to increase. And so if clients walk into a situation where they realize this purchase that I'm making, if I have at least a 5 to 7 year outlook of ownership on it, most likely you're going to see a nice return. You're going to see a nice appreciation come through. And you could use the equity from your first home to leverage and help pivot you to purchase your next property.
Would you consider that the bridge loan?
Or lots of clients use home equity line of credits. There's so many different ways. We have other products available that we refer to, like a cross collateral loan, which is actually less expensive than a bridge loan, where people could use equity from their departing to purchase their next. But I've seen a lot of people use that first home to leverage them on their next property. And they turn around and rent out that departing residence and could potentially use rental income, a portion of it, for qualifying purposes on their next home. So it's, again, that gift that keeps on giving, that you said it nicely. It's a great investment. People have made a lot of money in real estate, and sure, you could invest in gold and Bitcoin and whatever the new thing will be tomorrow. But the one thing that stands as a staple and really hones in on just being a concrete item is real estate. So I'm in agreement with you there.
My mom came to California in 1980, right? And we didn't buy our first home until like the 90s. But when we bought it, it was like about $200, and this was in Sunnyvale. So in Sunnyvale, the average price right now is probably more like the $2.
Sure. Yeah, that's a hot area.
Yeah.
Great schools. And again, the tech industry, that's another popular spot there. So
So I want to thank you all for listening to our little discussion today. Rochelle, it has been such a pleasure talking to you and enlightening our viewers and listeners today. I would love to have you join us again sometime in the future. This is so much fun. And Aaron Monteleon, thank you again for being our cameraman. So that's it. That's us for today.
Thanks for having me. It's been my pleasure.
Thank you. Take care.
Oh crap, I've got tape recording.
I was like, what? I literally.
I'm gonna kill you! I'm gonna fucking kill you!
I was like, Aaron, I really adored you up until.
I liked you until a minute ago.
I was like, I don't even know if we could do it that good again. like,
beautiful. It was beautiful.
with no alcohol. I was like, cheers. That was awesome.
Yeah, so
This was a lot.
This is my first one.
Total, my
I've never
first
done a
one too.
podcast